We welcome you to the first ever Rizzo report here on High Heat. So happy to be joining Chris Russo, the Mad Dog. I am, of course, Alana Rizzo. When we begin the Rizzo report in the AL West, you saw it there, Carlos Correa getting beaned. He was not the first guy to get beaned in the game, or not the only, I should say, because Adam Kolarek accidentally hit a guy as well. But the Oakland fans were none too pleased to be able to cheer for that and also boo the Astros fans for the first time, having the opportunity to actually be in the stands to boo the Astros. Unfortunately, the boos and the jeers may have turned towards their own team because the Astros absolutely dismantled the Oakland A's in Game 1 of the 162-game season. Zack Greinke was perennial Zack Greinke, carving up the A's offense. 6 innings, 3 hits, had 4 punch-outs, and the Astros doing it with their offense as they have done so many times before. A 3-run home run from Alvarez, and then back-to-back jacks from Michael Brantley, Alex Bregman to lead off the 8th inning. They cruised to their club record 9th consecutive opening day victory. In fact, Houston hasn't lost an opening day game since they moved to the American League in 2013. So you can boo them all you want, but you have to beat them on the field in order to be able to actually have a stake in that division. We move to an AL West and AL Central matchup. The Angels hosting the White Sox. Now, so many people, right, have said that they believe the Pale Hose are going to win that division. Tony La Russa back in the dugout for the first time in what he said was going to be his retirement. The 3rd oldest manager to manage a game. His White Sox were up 3-2 entering the 8th inning. But that changed as far as the Angels were concerned. David Fletcher reaching on an infield single, the recently extended David Fletcher for the Anaheim Angels, and then Shohei Ohtani getting on the board after an error by second baseman Nick Madrigal. Mike Trout, the greatest of all time, that's what people call him, right? An RBI single to tie the game up after an 11-pitch walk by J-Up and Albert Pujols. Could be his final year in an Angels uniform, in a baseball uniform. The go-ahead RBI ground out. It helped the Angels to a 4-3 win over the White Sox. That snapped a streak of 7 straight losses on opening day for the Halos. Finally, Giants at the Mariners. This is a good one because veteran catcher Buster Posey back behind the dish for the first time since opting out of the 2020 season because of COVID.
I didn't see this game, Alana, but I got a lot of Giant fans who texted me saying this is the worst opening day loss the Giants have ever had. They were that upset by it. They walked a million guys, that Giant bullpen, in the 8th inning, all walks. And in the bottom of the 10th, I think there were 3 walks to allow the game-winning run to score. So not pretty from a Giant perspective. You know, one thing about the White Sox, all I've heard all week, I had Steve Stone on, we've done, is this great White Sox bullpen. White Sox this, White Sox that, with this great bullpen. Number one, they were awful against the A's last year, that great bullpen. And then, Tony takes Giolito out after 76 pitches. He goes to the bullpen, and right away they implode and lose another game. I got to see this White Sox bullpen in big games go out there and do a nice job. And I got to see that before I'm going to sit there and say that they're the Cincinnati Reds of 1990. And finally, one thing about the A's fans, every time I look, Houston beats them. They win divisions. They beat them in playoff series. People need to lay off the Astros. When you give them a little cause, that's when they play well. Last year, everybody thought that they were a bad bunch of guys and sign stealing. They beat Minnesota. They beat the A's, almost beat Tampa. You get Correa mad. He does his thing. You can't, if you're going to boo Houston all night, if that's what you want to do, you got to, as you said, you got to beat them. And the Astros, they're into this.
I think Houston needs to get used to that, though. They didn't have the opportunity to get booed all of last season because, of course, fans were not in the stands. But I do agree with you. If you're going to boo them, obviously, you need to beat them as well. But I think any team that goes up against the Houston Astros, their fan base is going to boo the club this year. Of course, the Dodgers fans don't get to get at them this season. They don't play each other. However, I think that's something that's to be expected if you're any sort of fan base to boo the Houston Astros. That's something that they just need to get used to. However, if they continue to play like they played yesterday, they really could not care less.
Yeah, I see the Astros are fueled, but they like that. they want to be the bad guy. You know, they have this element. Well, we'll show you then. You want to boo us? You know, you want to keep on bringing up 2017? We'll come back and show you. And so far, they've killed the A's. They destroyed them in the postseason last year. And last night, Greinke, it's only one game. I don't want to make too big a deal about it. But I think it actually helps Houston. What's your thoughts on the White Sox bullpen? Can we get some outs, please, in big spots?
Well,
What's your take on that for a
think
sec?
you're right. I think it's the same thing. I think it's the same thing you were talking about with the Phillies bullpen. You know, the Phillies bullpen we just talked about was expected to be, well, it can't be any worse than it was last year, but that's going to be a topic of conversation always. The White Sox bullpen, to your point, we continue to hear how good they are. Not only just the bullpen, but really the roster, top to bottom, all 26 guys on it. So until they can record some outs and not implode and have these types of issues, it remains to be seen whether that bullpen is as good as we think they are on paper.